A new client has come to me and said, can I look over their ESOS submission, please, their ESOS evidence pack, because they're not sure about the quality of one of the audits they did, one of the energy performance audits that we do on buildings, which is part of ESOS regs. So they send us through all the details, and they've made a mistake, and I'm glad they sort of got me involved, because there is an obligation under ESOS that if you use the ESOS audits as a route to compliance, there's many different ways you can do it, but ESOS audits is probably the most popular one. If you use that as a compliance route, then the ESOS audits have to comply with certain standards. The standard we use at Anistic is ISO 50002, which is a subset of ISO 50001, and we do what's called a level 2 audit for ISO 50002. The other standard is BSEN 16247, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it basically says the same as ISO 50002 in that you have to do a walk around audit. You have to evidence that with photos, and you have to identify, the key pieces of equipment that can be sort of upgraded or improved. The problem the company had, and they were right to sort of flag it, was that the audit that they'd done, the auditor involved had said, look, nothing much has changed since ESOS Phase 2, so I'm just going to use the ESOS Phase 2 sort of information, all the photos and all the calculations they did from that energy audit. And that does not meet the standard. The standard says you have to take photographs, you have to do a calculation, you have to reconsider the equipment. And they hadn't really. They just cut and pasted ESOS Phase 2 into ESOS Phase 3, and that won't cut it. Even if you update the photos, update, sort of fresh description of the equipment, something to evidence, and that's the key point, to evidence the fact that an audit has been done and that it did meet the requirements of ISO 50002, and at least a level 2 audit has been done under ISO 50002. Okay, so that's my advice back to them. That's what I'll be saying. So look, if you've got the information, just need to update it. If not, then that audit has to be repeated. And I do believe actually they're going to repeat the audit. Okay, so look, I hope that was useful. If you've got any other questions regarding ESOS, or you want me to check anything out for TCFD, SECR, ESOS, science-based targets, all that sort of stuff, drop me a line, and if I can help, I will. All right, see you next time.